Am I audible? Okay. Thank you, Sanchana. Okay. Yesterday we have started the fourth module, that is microcontroller and the microcontroller and embedded system, the fourth module. Who is that? Someone forget to mute. Vismaya T. Vismaya, can you unmute yourself? Vismaya T. 19 CS 114. Vismaya T. Okay. Okay, in the yesterday's class, we have started discussing this quality characteristics and the quality attributes. In that, yesterday we have discussed some of the characteristics of an embedded system. In that, one is application and domain specific, and all the embedded system should be reactive and in real time. And our embedded system should work in the harsh environment, means in the different temperature, in different dust conditions, or it can be vibrations, shocks. If the area is like that, it should be susceptible to those type of situation. And even it should work in the distributed environment. The embedded system should work in the distributed environment. It should be of small size. Weight also should be less. Power consumption should be less. These are the common characteristics of an uh, embedded system. The next we have discussed is the quality attributes. In that, their quality attributes, we say it is non-functional. Means we are not going to see it by our eyes, but we are going to feel whenever you use those embedded systems. One is the response, how quickly it is going to give us, how the embedded system is going to quickly respond, and also how many number of transaction or operations or functions it is going to do in a period of time, that is called as throughput. That is another quality attribute, which is an operational quality attribute. One more quality attribute on how much you can depend on any embedded system, that is called as reliability. Means for proper functioning, how much you can depend, what is the time it is going to fail. All those that is are going to measure with the terms called MD, mean time between failures and mean time to repair. And is there any embedded system which goes under maintenance, that is called maintainability. We have given the example of printer. On the printer, they are going to mention that after these many prints, you have to replace the cartridge. That is one example of the periodic maintenance. If it doesn't fail to print itself, that is another case. A maintenance to unexpected failures means you have to do some repair. Okay, that is called as maintenance. And the next quality attribute is security. Security is nothing but whatever is there, you should not provide it for unauthorized access. Anything you should not give it for unauthorized access. In that three terms, confidentiality, integrity, availability terms we discussed. And later we discussed about the safety. Safety is nothing but an embedded system. If anything happens to that, what is the situation outside in that environment? Whether what happens to the public when there is a breakdown of an embedded system. That is what we are going to discuss. We are talking about the safety. Means if there is a breakdown of embedded system, or do the emissions of radioactive or hazardous materials from the embedded products, what will be happen to the public, to the environment, to the operators? That you have to take care. If anything happens, there should be some safety measures. There should be some safety measures should be there with the embedded unit also. These are the things that we have discussed. Now we'll go for next one, non-operational quality attribute. Do you have any doubts in this? Any doubts in the previous topic what we have discussed? If you have any doubts, you can ask, or else I'll start the next topic. ಯಾವ್ದಾರ ಟರ್ಮಿನಾಲಜಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ? No? Yes? Understood? Okay. See, the next non-operational quality attribute means it is not during the online mode. If you are using during the or when you are using the embedded system, during that stage there are some attributes that we have discussed: response, throughput, reliability, maintainability, safety, security. It is during the development stage itself, means before it is coming to the use by the user. One attribute in that is testability or debuggability. Means this embedded system what we design, that should be ready for testing purpose. Whether we should test only the hardware? No, it should be ready to test the firmware also. You should debug both the hardware level debugging and firmware level debugging should be there. Even it is during the design stage. After, when it is coming to the market also, when there is a problem, it should be ready. It should be in the situation that we should debug the errors. What is the problem inside it? In that way, the embedded system should be designed. That should be keep in the mind, and then you have to design it. You have to think both hardware level and also firmware level. Firmware is, I'm talking about software. If anything happens, you should figure out the issues which is created by hardware or probable errors because of the flaws in the server firmware. These two things, testability and debuggability, should be there. That attribute should be there for any embedded unit. The next parameter is evaluability. Evaluability is nothing but, see, you have developed an embedded system, you have used some X hardware, okay? Then in the market, after so many years, there is a new hardware comes, Y, or new software comes. That is a new technology. Your embedded system should support for upgrading the hardware and also the software. In that way, if it is designed, then we say that the embedded system can evolve. It is going to update. Okay? In that way, it should be it should be designed. ಯಾವ್ದಾರು ಹೊಸ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವ್ದಾರು ಹೊಸ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್ ಬಂತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿನ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಂಬೆಡೆಡ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. Whatever the operating system or the hardware which are there in the market, if you prepare your embedded system only for that, it is going to fail after so many years. Example, your mobile. If the mobile, if it comes with what is the latest version of the Android? What is the latest version of the Android? Shreyas, have you installed Shreyas Sudan 12 in your
Yes,
mobile?
sir.
Whether it is the update or you have bought the new mobile itself?
Update, sir.
Update. Which mobile you have?
Renault.
Sorry?
Renault.
Renault.
Yes, sir.
They say that they are going to release Android 12, that to beta version in August 2021. How it is possible you have got already Android 12?
Beta version, sir.
This is what beta version they are saying. Beta 4 version. Okay, if you have already got, no problem. Okay. The Android 12, it is going to come in the another few months. Okay. If your mobile, if it is not ready to update to the Android 12, if it is going to work only till 11, 100% you are going to throw your mobile, because you want your device to be updated for the latest uh, technology. In that way, the mobile should be designed. That is what this evolvability. It can be the hardware or it can be the software. Just now, the example which I have given, it was the software. Okay. The next one is portability. One more attribute, portability is nothing but you should not think about the location. If my mobile, if it is working in Shimoga, it should also work in Davangere. No, we are not talking about that portability. It cannot move. We are not talking about that. We are saying it should work in different environments. It should work in different processor, target processor or controllers. Even if you change the processor or the controller which is there inside, it should work. If you change the embedded operating system itself, before it was Windows, now I will change it to Linux. In that way, even if I change the embedded operating system, I'm just now, which I said is general purpose operating system. Okay. Even if I change the operating system itself, it should be ready to work. But one extra thing is, when you change, there should be less rework in the embedded unit. If when you change the processor, if you start writing once again all the coding levels, means the softwares which you are going to write once again inside the embedded unit, whenever you change the processor, then it is of, you cannot say it is portability. With the minimum changes, with minimum rework, if you if an embedded unit, if it works for the new operating system or a new processor, new controller or new environment, then you can say it as a portability. If the firmware is written in a high level language like C, okay, whenever you change some of the processor specific functions, it is very easy to port the firmware for the new processor by replacing those target processor specific functions. If you use the high level language, it is easy to change. But if you use assembly language, if you use the assembly language in the firmware, then if you change the processor, it is very difficult to port. That is why if the firmware which is written in the C language, that will be easy to change once again. The rework will be less. Whenever you change the processor, I'm talking about. When you change one processor to the other processor, if the firmware, if it is written in the high level languages, rework will be very less. But if you use low level languages like assembly language, then it would be very difficult to translate. The portability will be poor. That is what I am saying. Whenever you design any system, in that way you have to select the proper languages to the firmwares or the proper hardwares to design. I think it is clear what is the meaning of the word portability. Portability, it is not, I'm talking about the location. It is the separate different hardwares, different softwares. Embedded operating system, if you change, it should work. Different processors, if you change, rework should be less. We should not expect that if I just replace one processor and I'll keep one more, then suddenly it should work. No, I'm not talking about that. The number of rework inside the coding part I'm talking, that should be very less. That is what the portability. The next thing is time to prototype. See, this time to prototype on the market is, in the company, you are going to design one product. Okay, the design is over, development is over. Now it is ready for coming to the market. If you delay in bringing that product to the market in the real time, the other product, the same product from other company may come into the market, and it may become success. After that, if your product comes, it may not give the competition to that product, already existing product. That is why time factor is also very important in the success of any embedded product, and how you are going to do the marketing. Okay, time to prototype and market is the best one. That is the best, this attribute you have to take care. If you delay in bringing the product to the market, you have lost. What you have lost? You are going to, means the same product, if the others give with the same price or with a less price, okay, then your product will not become successful. That is why this time to prototype and to bringing to the market, it is the main factor. This depends on this cost. One more parameter, per unit and the total cost. See, whenever we went to purchase any item, what is the first parameter we are going to check is the cost. After that, we'll see the specification. What is the cost? Okay, 10,000. Okay, it is reasonable. Then we'll start seeing the specification. Okay, we have this much of RAM, ROM. Okay, this is the 64 megapixel camera. In that way, we are going to search on any product. That is why the cost should be minimum. We should not say less. The cost should be minimum, and also it should be competitive price in the market. And this is the cost is a factor that will be closely looked by both the end user and also the company side, because that is the highly sensitive factor. If another person, if it gives the same product for lesser price, 100% the user will go and purchase the another one which is of less price. That is why this cost factor you have to carefully fix for any embedded product that you are going to design. We should keep marginal profit. We should not say I'll keep a very huge, don't imagine that I'm going to keep very high profit and I'll get more amount. Okay, because now in the market so many products is going to come. Each product will be having a competitive price. In that way itself, you have to set the a cost for that product that you are going to design. ನಿಮ್ದು ಒಂದೇ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ನ ಸೆಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಬಟ್ now in 2021, now in this situation, you cannot imagine that only your product will be there in the market. Many of the companies will have the same idea and they are going to develop. That is why with the minimum profit, you have to keep the cost. It is the time to market, and also the cost will define the success of any product. So many times they are going to think, all the mobile companies, before they fix the cost, because the competitive price they are going to set by the other company also. Samsung, if it Samsung M30, if it comes for 11,000, oh, Redmi 8, okay. If it comes around 10,000, they will go and buy the Redmi itself. Okay, the cost is the another factor. If you see the life cycle of any product, What is the first stage? The first stage is the product development. See, in the product development itself, what all the things will come is, it have the product idea generation will be there, prototyping, what are the steps to follow in the to develop a product, that is called roadmap, what is the design, and how I have to develop the development activities. All those things that will come under first stage, that is product development stage. ಈ ಸ್ಟೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಐಡಿಯಾಯಿಂದ ಹಿಡಿದು ಹೆಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಪ್ರೋಟೋಟೈಪ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತೀವಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಟೈಪ್. ರಿಯಲ್ ಐಟಮ್ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವ ತರ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಕೆಚ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಒಂದು 3D ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಟೈಪ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು. ದೆನ್ ಹೌ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡಿಸೈನ್, means how the design stage should go, how the development stage we have to do, that we are going to write it, that is called roadmap. And then we'll do the design stage, and then we are going to develop the product. All these activities that will come under this product development. Okay, after that product development, what we do in the life cycle, we are going to introduce the product to the market. Now during this stage, see, there is so much of investment, because for development there will be so much of investment. During the product introduction stage also there will be no returns. After the growth stage, see, in the growth stage it starts, there will be during the growth stage it starts. You can see the graph here. As the sales go up, okay, as the sales go up, there will be a profit. You can see the profit. When does it is going to drop? See, after some time, there is a, means if there is a product updation, when there is updation, even that time you may see some profit. After some time, when you declare that you are going to end the product or discontinue the product, if the manufacturer announces that he is going to discontinue the product, that stage we say that product retirement. Company ಅವರೇ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಆ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್, ಆ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ. Then the profit goes down. This is what the product life cycle. Here there is no profit at all. It will be in the, see, in the product development and product introduction, you are in the negative, means you have invested something, but over the time, see, as the sales increases, your profit also increases. It's all depends upon when you are going to bring that product to the market, what is the cost of the product, how it is going to change, all those things that will be taken care. In that way you are going to get the profit. Once you announce the product is going to, you are going to stop manufacturing this product, that is called product retirement, the profit, it is going to come down. At one stage it will be zero. In the initial period it is negative. Okay, this is what this product life cycle will give you the real picture about the any product. Per unit cost, time to prototype, portability, evaluability and testability, these are the non-operational quality attributes. Okay. Okay. Next we'll go and see a real-time example. As we said in the previous chapter, and any embedded system characteristics, a main characteristics we say it is an application specific. An embedded system, whenever we design, we say it is an application specific. We'll discuss one application in the embedded system, that is this washing machine. Okay, one washing machine example we have taken, and we are going to discuss this application specific embedded system, that is washing machine. Do you have any doubts in the characteristics and quality attributes? Those two topics, that is one chapter, and product life cycle. Okay, That belongs to one chapter. See, that chapter, you have to finish it in within half an hour. Within half an hour, because that is all the story. You have to build and you have to properly write with the keywords. Okay? You should not take too much time to uh, uh, prepare for those topics, quality attributes and characteristics. Okay? Do you have any doubts in that? Almost all the topics have five attributes, and last one is product life cycle. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ವಾ ಯಾವ್ದಾರ ಟರ್ಮಿನಾಲಜಿ? Okay, I understand. Okay, I understood that you have got everything. Hmm. Okay, now I'll move on to the next topic. That is one application of an embedded system, that is washing machine. See, this washing machine, do you agree it is an embedded system? Whether it is an embedded system? ಸರ್ ಅವ್ರು ಬುಕ್ಕಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅದು ಎಂಬೆಡೆಡ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಂತ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂತೀರಾ? ಡು ಯು ಅಗ್ರಿ ವೆದರ್ ಆನ್ ವಾಷಿಂಗ್ ಮಿಷಿನ್ ಇಸ್ ಅನ್ ಎಂಬೆಡೆಡ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್? ಸೇ ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ. Yes. Yes. Okay. If it is an any embedded system, okay, it performs what it performs. It is going to wash the cloths. That is the task, right? What we are going to discuss in this is what are all the internal components of the washing machine? What is the hardware is there? What all the sensors and actuators are there? Just we see some internal components of this and how actually it works. That is what we are going to discuss in this. See, this washing machine, it is going to do, it will come under the category of home automations. Okay? It come under the home automation because you are going to, it is automatically, it is going to wash the clothes. Okay? Actually, what it contains inside, 100% there will be a sensor because the latest from last 2 to 3 years washing machines, if you check, even you can send the hot water, even you are going to send the cold water, waters get automatically heated inside. Okay, there will be a sensors, there will be an actuators is nothing but means the output unit where you are going to see some output. There will be some control unit will be there. What is this control unit? That is called this microcontroller or the board, that we are going to call it as control unit. And in order to check the water levels, there will be a level sensors will be there. If you have the diagram, you can see the diagram here. See here, the black mark, what you see, there is a level sensor. Whatever you see here, this is a temperature sensor. Okay. The top of that, it is some control unit. This is an internal structure. Here also you have two types, top loading and also front loading. Okay. In the control unit, what will be there? There will be a microcontroller or the processor with sensors are being connected to it. There will be interface for that. If I use the word interface, what is the another word for interface? The control unit as an interface for sensors. What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that sentence? The control unit as an interface for sensors and actuators. What is the meaning of this sentence? Sinchana? Sinchana?
Yes, sir.
Did you get the sentence? What is the meaning of that?
Sir, sir, sorry, your voice broke. Can you repeat?
I say control unit as an interface for the sensors and also actuators. What is the meaning of this sentence? Parvati?
Sir,
Parvati, what is the meaning of that sentence?
sir, the control medium acts as a communication aid.
Means what I'm saying is a control unit as an interface for sensors.
Sir, sir, control units like they help in giving the input and also controlling the variables or state of the system.
That is the working of that. See, what I was expecting is, see, the control unit, the control unit as the interface means it has a separate way of connecting the sensors or the actuators to the control unit. ಇಂಟರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಡೇಟಾ ಸೆಂಡ್ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. Interface is nothing but some connection, sensors and actuators, you are going to connect it with the control unit. Control unit ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, microcontroller, microprocessor, everything will be there inside that. Okay. See, this is also the display, the keypad will be there. It is based upon the application specific, whether it is lightweight, medium, heavy dresses, whether you are going to wash, whether you are going to soak or rinse, whether it is run for 30 minutes or 1 hour, 2 hours, all these, it is these small programs. They are all small programs in the background. This is the keypad which takes the input from the users, which are visible to the users. And some of the programs that is invisible. Okay. And there will be a outlet, water outlet, and there will be an inlet pipe also, which water enters from the a source, water source. Okay, here level sensor, here the temperature sensors. See, these are all the components which are there inside any washing machine. Inside, see here, there are two things. One is, as I said, sensors, actuators, temperature sensors, control unit. There is one more component here. This is the tub, which is called as tumble tub. There are two tubs are there. One is inner tub and another one is outer tub. Okay. What is this dots is, from these dots itself, the water will be thrown out from the inner tub to the outer tub, and from the outer tub, it will go out from the water outlet. Okay. From this holes are there, right? From there only the water during the rinse stage, whenever it spins right, that water will be removed. That will go out of this holes itself. There is some problem. Okay. Could not able to rectify. There is some disturbance is there in my earphone. Do you hear any disturbance? Okay. Okay, if there is no disturbance for you, I'll continue. Okay, these are the internal components, starting from the inlet tubs to all the sensors, everything. Okay, how actually it works? Which is the component which is going to move this tub? There will be a component called agitator, Agitator. There is a component called agitator. That agitator, it is a motorized agitator that is going to rotate. Whenever it is in the top loading, the agitator of the machine, what it is going to do is, the cloths which are there inside, it is going to twist back and forth, and it pulls the cloths which are there inside from the bottom to the top. If you have observed in the top loading and the bottom loading, if you have not observed, please go and check in the washing machine how it is going to move. It will bring the cloths to the from the bottom to the top. In that way, it is going to work. It moves for back and forth. And in case of the means that process, it is going to repeat. It is going to repeat that mechanism once again, bringing the cloths down, up. It is going to bring back and forth. In that way, it is going to repeat the mechanism. That is called as the washing. After that, what is next washing? The next washing, the second phase of the washing is, whenever it washes once, it is going to remove that water, right? It is going to remove. First, it is going to move the cloths, top, bottom, left, right. It is going to move. That is the first phase. After that, it is going to remove the water. That water will be pumped out from the tub. How it is going to remove from the inner tub? It uses the centrifugal force to bring out more water from the clothes. See, there will be an RPM. That number will be specified on any specification of a washing machine, rotation per minute. That is called as this spin phase. These three, you are going to some three buttons you are going to see. I think wash, spin, rinse. Whenever you set it, the program, a standard program, three things will automatically it is going to do. Wash, after that it is going to spin, after that it is going to rinse. These three steps automatically it is going to do, and from the inner tub the water will move out. During the spin stage itself, the water will be moved from the number of holes that you have seen, and that water will be moved out from the outlet pipe. See, this mechanism, almost the mechanism, it is common in any of the washing machine. This functionality, some extra programs they may give, some extra functionality they may give, but till now whatever I have discussed, this is minimum in all the washing machines which are available in the market. Some other washing machines, they may give you hot water for washing. For different types of cloths, so you have to set the different programs. For woolen cloths, for smooth cloths, for less than 5 years of age child, if the cloths are there, for that they will keep another program for that. And lightweight dresses, heavy dresses, they are going to give the different programs for that. For the as users, we are going to set it to that program itself, and we are going to run the washing machine. Yes, this is how it will be there in any a washing machine. Okay, I think you have got some idea about a single embedded system, that is washing machine, the working of that. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ವಾಷಿಂಗ್ ಮಿಷಿನ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ? ಅಪ್ ಟು ಸಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಓಕೆ. As I said, the okay, it's 11:30. We take some more time to discuss this domain-specific embedded system. As I said, an embedded system, it is application-specific and domain-specific. Application-specific means one application we have discussed. One of the domain-specific we'll discuss, that is automotive. Automotive is nothing but the components which are all automatic. In the car, we have a wiper. Whenever you just switch on, automatically it is going to clear the water on the glass. Power steering, airbag controller, ABS. Okay, all these things, everything which will come under automotive embedded systems. We'll discuss this automotive embedded system. Okay, what are the components are there inside that, which bus they use, communication bus, the automotive, which communication bus they use, and who are the vendors they provide this automotive devices. All those things that we'll discuss in the next class with car as an example. We'll take some car as an example. In that itself, we'll discuss the components, the vendors, and the buses. Okay. Okay. Now you can send your attendance. If you have any doubts, you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask, or else you can exit.